Thanks for joining us, and it's time for our news bulletin right here on Luntha TV. And you're with me, Patrick Pupa. First, the headlines. Pope Leo XIV calls for peace after violent clashes in Madagascar. Political analyst urges president-elect to appoint ministers based on expertise. NGO GCN urges women MPs to serve diligently and inspire leadership. And in international news, scaffolding collapse at Ethiopian church kills at least 36. Those were the headlines. Now the news in detail. Pope Leo XIV voiced sorrow upon learning that Madagascar is facing days marked by violence after protests by young people over water and electricity cuts escalated into social unrest. Speaking at the close of his Wednesday general audience in St. Peter's Square, the Pope referred to the violent confrontations between security forces and demonstrators, which has left several dead and about 100 others injured. We have a Vatican News report read by Faris Chizombe.
The United Nations has reported that 22 people have lost their lives and over 100 others have been injured during the ongoing unrest in Madagascar. Pope Leo XIV urged prayers for peace, calling on the 34 to ask the Lord that all violence to be avoided and that efforts towards social harmony be strengthened through justice and the common good. Drawing inspiration from recent youth-led Gen Z protests in Kenya and Nepal, Madagascar is witnessing its largest demonstrations in history. The protests are fueled by widespread frustration over economic hardship, poor access to basic service, collapsing infrastructure, recurring blackouts, and persistent government corruption. Through social media, youth movements have organized mass rallies that culminated in President Andry Rajoelina dissolving the government on 29 September. According to UN reports, those killed include protesters, bystanders caught up in clashes with security forces, and victims of subsequent violence instigated by criminal gangs. Security forces have also been accused of using tear gas to disperse crowds. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, however, has disputed the UN figures, dismissing them as rumors or misinformation. Meanwhile, organizers have called for a fresh wave of protests on Wednesday, urging public sector workers to join a general strike. Demonstrations are expected in Antananarivo's Abohija-Tova district, a symbolic center Malagasy politics, where protesters broke through on Tuesday. Meanwhile, organizers have called for a fresh wave of protest on Wednesday, urging public sector workers to join a general strike. Demonstrations are expected in Antananarivo's Tovo district, a symbolic center of Malagasy politics, where protesters broke through on Tuesday. The unrest has also spread to other urban areas, including Diego Soares in the island's north.
Political analyst George Perry has called on the newly elected president to prioritize professionalism over political loyalty when appointing ministers, noting that Malawi's economic and development challenges demand competent leadership in Malawi. In an interview, Perry stressed that cabinet roles should be given to individuals with the relevant professional expertise, as this is crucial for effective management of issues such as economic recovery, food security, and store development projects. He added that professionals offer integrity, practical solutions, and a people-focused approach, in contrast to politicians who often prioritize party agendas. Judith Organ reports.
Piri also urged the president to create a government that listens to the people rather than relying solely on ministers' advice. He emphasized that critical ministries such as agriculture, education, health, and finance should be led by individuals with proven professional expertise and practical experience rather than just political credentials. He added that surrounding the presidency with economists and sector specialists would accelerate development and help restore public confidence in government. According to Piri, professionals approach leadership as a service guided by integrity and technical knowledge, forming the foundation for genuine national progress.
I've already talked about the professionalism. That's the quality that we need. We also need people who have integrity. Usually, people who are professionals, they consider integrity as part of or value for their lives. So it's important that he needs to consider people of that caliber. We talk about the economy. He needs to be surrounded by economists.
Piri included by stressing that professionalism and integrity must guide cabinet appointments, noting that only then can Malawi's leadership implement meaningful reforms and uplift the nation. For Luntha News in Lilongwe, this is Judith Ogan.
The Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiatives, CEDED, has called on the newly elected government to act quickly in tackling urgent economic and governance challenges. During a press briefing in Lilongwe, CEDED Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa congratulated President-elect Professor Arthur Mutalika and Vice President-elect Justice Dr. Jane Ansa on their victory. He cautioned, however, that Malawians were not seeking just a change in leadership, but a break from what he described as a 6 years of hardship, mismanagement, and economic difficulties under the outgoing Malawi Congress Party MCP administration. More details in this report, filed by Charite Chiranga.
Namiwa emphasized that the Mutalika-led Democratic Progressive Party DPP should not expect a honeymoon period, urging the president-elect to take immediate action to restore public confidence in government. He described the September 16th election as a protest against what he called the incompetence and mismanagement of the Jagwela administration, accusing it of tarnishing the reputation of government operations.
There are a number of issues, like I've said time without number, that the primary reason why we convened this presser was to wish the president-elect well. So we could not cover everything. There are a number of issues that need to be tackled. And I promise that sooner or later we'll be calling for another presser. Nonetheless, let me seize the opportunity to say we expect a lean cabinet.
Among the urgent measures proposed, CEDED recommended a 30-day amnesty for individuals alleged to have misappropriated public funds under the previous administration. Namiwa stated that those who return stolen cash and property, whether held locally or abroad, should be forgiven, while defaulters would face prosecution. To support this effort, CEDED also called for a currency change within 60 days of Mutalika assuming office, aimed at identifying and removing illicitly held money from the system. Namiwa further urged a review of all mining contracts signed under the outgoing government, alleging that many were awarded to unscrupulous operators and failed to serve the national interest. Other key recommendations include a fresh investigation into the June 10, 2004 Chikangawa plane crash, which claimed the lives of Vice President Saulus Chilima and 8 others, as well as the creation of a debt relief task force to address what CEDED described as Malawi's current technical bankruptcy. On the economic front, CEDED called on the new administration to prioritize the distribution of affordable fertilizer and food, noting that maize production remains critical for both food security and political stability. Additionally, Namiwa stressed the need for urgent reforms in the sugar industry to make the commodity more accessible, criticizing Salima Sugar Company for failing to challenge Ilovo's monopoly.
Newly elected independent member of parliament for Likuni constituency, Kevin Mpande, has pledged to improve the welfare of residents by ensuring greater access to basic necessities. After being declared winner of the parliamentary race in Lilongwe's Likuni constituency, Mpande expressed confidence that he will effectively represent the people's concerns, emphasizing his deep connection to the area where he has lived since childhood. More in our report, followed by Gift Kalonga.
After defeating former Minister of Gender and MCP Director of Women, Jean Sendeza, Kevin Mpande has vowed to fulfill all his commitments to the people of Likuni, calling his win a victory for the people. Running as an independent candidate, Mpande said his priorities will include providing communities with affordable farm inputs through the Affordable Input Program, AIP, improving health care and education, and expanding opportunities in technical colleges. Speaking after being declared the parliamentary winner, Mpande highlighted that his success came not from wealth or resources, but from the trust and support of the electorates. He pointed out that despite his opponent's financial advantage, voters chose him because of his vision and strong connection to the grassroots.
So as young people who are many in the population, the parliament failed to come to the ghetto. Now the ghetto has decided to go to parliament. So we are going to represent the ghetto by making sure that the people from the ghetto, they have access to or whatever they should have access to.
Mpande's triumph represents a significant political shift in Likuni, and seating a veteran politician and cabinet minister, and signaling the growing influence of youthful independent leadership in Malawi's political landscape. For Luntha News, this is Gift Kalonga.
Remember, you are watching News Bulletin right here on Luntha TV. And this time you are with me, Patrick Pooper. But before we proceed, top stories once again. Pope Leo XIV calls for peace after violent clashes in Madagascar. Political analyst urges president-elect to appoint ministers based on expertise. NGO GCN urges women MPs to serve diligently and inspire leadership. And in international news, scaffolding collapse at Ethiopian church kills at least 36. Welcome back. NGO Gender Coordination Network has urged women elected to parliament in the recent concluded September 2nd general election to serve diligently and faithfully represent the people who entrusted them with power. The chairperson, Magiga Tewerabanda, emphasized that women leaders must demonstrate their capabilities by championing policies and making decisions that improve citizens' lives, while also inspiring more women to pursue leadership roles. Banda further called on various stakeholders, including the government, to establish mechanisms that will enable more women to attain high-level leadership positions and increase their representation in parliament. Emmanuel Chocha reports.
The September 16 general election brought fresh faces to parliament, with only a handful of incumbent MPs managing to keep their seats. Banda observes that this shift highlights both progress and ongoing challenges within Malawi's political landscape. In an interview with Luntha Television, she said the coalition is encouraged by the performance of women in this year's general elections, noting clear improvements compared to the 2019-2025 parliamentary term. Banda also urged women who were not elected to remain steadfast and support those who succeeded, underlining the importance of unity among women in politics.
Those that have failed, for me, I want to say, let's not give up. This is part of life, and that's part of the race. Because in every race, there's one that emerges as the winner. So people cannot all win in a race. They have to be one that is at the end of the day. So if they haven't made it, they should not give up. We have seen examples where women did not make it, but after trying again, they made it, so they need to continue. If they still have the vision, they should still go.
The Gender Coalition Network has further advised women to stay resilient and begin preparing for the 2030 general elections, emphasizing that sustained efforts is crucial for boosting women's representation in the nation's decision-making. For Luntha News, this is Emmanuel Chiwocha.
Police in Lilongwe have arrested a Congolese and 2 Nigerian nationals for illegal entry, forgery, and obtaining Malawian national identity cards by false pretenses. The arrests were made on Wednesday, October 1, 2025, at around 21 hours during a police raid at a lodging house in Airwing. The suspects have been identified as Steve Leader Tamara, aged 36, Congolese Bobe Alex Amariri, aged 43, and John Osita, aged 43, both Nigerians. Investigations have so far revealed that the 3 are based in South Africa, where Steve works as a church pastor, Bobe is an electrical engineering student, and John is a tutor at a skill development college. Hastings Chigalo is the Lilongwe Police publicity and speaks to our reporter, Robert Edward.
I can confirm that we've arrested these 3 foreign nationals, a Congolese and 2 Nigerians who are based in South Africa for illegal entry, forgery, and obtaining registration by false pretenses. In fact, we acted on a tip-off that suggested that the suspects had already obtained the Malawi national IDs on September 22 after entering Malawi on September 9. So they were also in the process of securing passports. So after we searched them, we found them with the national IDs after they changed their identities. So currently we are pursuing certain Malawian national identified only as Ishmael, who is suspected of aiding them to fraudulently obtain the documents. So they will be taken to court anytime soon to answer the applicable charges.
And now in sports news, Silver Strikers FC has advanced to the semi-finals of the FDH Bank Cup after defeating Blue Eagles FC by 3-0 at Nankaka Stadium in Lilongwe. Peter Mgangira, the head coach of Silver Strikers FC, praised his players for their outstanding performance. Goals from Nixon Mase, Ernest Petro, and Emmanuel Allen secured the victory for Silver Strikers FC. Mgangira explains.
No, I think the most important part is that we make use of our chances. We converted them into goals. We didn't have a lot of chances, but the few chances that we had, I think we converted them into goals. That makes a very big difference. These are cup games whereby you make sure every time you get a chance, you convert them into it.
And finally, in international news, at least 36 people have died and dozens more were injured after a makeshift scaffolding collapsed at the Church of Ethiopia, state media reported. The accident occurred around 7:45 a.m. on Wednesday in Arenti, a town in the Mahara region located approximately 70 kilometers east of the capital, Addis Ababa. The collapse happened as a group of pilgrims visited Major Church to celebrate the annual Virgin Mary Festival. District Police Chief Ahmad Gayebu told state media Fana that the number of dead has reached 36 and could rise further, according to AFP. We have an Al Jazeera News report read by Fales Chizombe.
The exact number of people injured in the incident is still unclear, with some reports suggesting up to 200 casualties. Local official Atnafu Abet told the Ethiopian Broadcasting Corporation that several people remain trapped under the Lambo, though he did not provide details on rescue efforts. He added that those seriously injured have been taken to hospitals in the capital. Worshippers were present inside the main Jashenkola Alet Mariam Church, which was under construction when the scaffolding collapsed on Wednesday, October 1st, 2025 in Aleti, Amhara region. Tesla Tilahan, the local administrator, described the accident as a tragic loss for the community. Photos from the scene show the church exterior with scaffolding that appeared to have been precariously built. Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous country, has visually no enforcement of health and safety regulations, making construction accidents relatively common. Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous country, has visually no enforcement of health and safety regulations, making construction accidents relatively common.
With that story, we have come to the end of our news bulletin right here on Luntha TV. But before I go, top stories once again. Pope Leo XIV calls for peace after violent clashes in Madagascar. Political analyst urges president-elect to appoint ministers based on expertise. NGO GCN urges women MPs to serve diligently and inspire leadership. And in international news, scaffolding collapse at Ethiopian church kills at least 36. Thanks for watching our news bulletin. This has been Patrick Pupa. I wish you a lovely time. Keep watching Luntha TV, and bye for now.